What if I told you that behind the glitz, the Grammys, and the million-dollar empire, there's a storm brewing that could bring everything crashing down? What if I told you that America's so-called sweetheart of Atlanta is caught in a whirlwind of betrayal, secrets, and family chaos so messy it makes reality TV look like Sesame Street? Yeah, buckle up, because this one isn't your average Bravo drama. This is the kind of story that'll have you gasping, rewinding, and texting your group chat in all caps. Kandi Burruss, the woman who built an empire from R&B hits to restaurant chains, has just dropped a bombshell that has fans crying, critics smirking, and the internet going absolutely feral. Why? Because the cracks in her seemingly perfect empire are finally showing. And baby, they are not pretty. Think heartbreak. Think betrayal. Think the kind of family scandal that would make even the Kardashians clutch their pearls. So, what really happened? How did a Grammy-winning icon go from chart-topping queen to headline-making controversy? And is this the end of the Burruss brand as we know it? Stick around, because once I spill the tea, you won't look at Kandi the same way again. Now, let us begin peeling away the shiny surface of fame, because the story surrounding Kandi Burruss is not just about her hit songs, television fame, and business ventures. It is about the shadows lurking behind the spotlight that most fans never see. The kind of shadows that make people whisper in hushed tones and pass along rumors that refuse to die out. To the public, Kandi looks like the woman who has it all. The Grammy-winning songwriter who created songs for TLC and Destiny's Child. The entrepreneur who opened restaurants and made millions. The reality television star who somehow stood her ground in a cast that thrives on chaos. On the surface, it looks like success, but underneath that polished brand lies a history so tangled with heartbreak, betrayal, and whispered scandals that it feels less like coincidence and more like a pattern. People who know her story often point back to one event: the death of her brother Patrick when she was just 15, and say that was when everything began to unravel. Friends of the family have quietly suggested for years that Patrick was the soul of the family, the one who held everyone together. And when he was suddenly gone, it was as if a curse settled over the household. Since then, the Burruss name has been chased by grief, unexpected losses, and the kind of rumors that never truly go away. The pain did not stop there, because as Kandi entered adulthood, she suffered another devastating loss when her fiancé, AJ, died in 2009 after a violent altercation outside a club. Official reports said it was a tragic fight gone too far, but documents and whispers claim that AJ's business dealings may not have been so innocent, and that perhaps there were enemies who wanted to silence him. Nothing has ever been proven, of course, yet the timing, the mystery, and the circumstances have kept people talking for years, and it only added to the aura of sorrow surrounding her. And even when love returned in the form of Todd Tucker, a man she met while filming, drama was waiting in the wings in the form of her outspoken mother, Joyce. Viewers will remember how Mama Joyce tore into Todd on camera, calling him a gold digger, questioning his intentions, and even throwing shade on his late mother in front of the world. Many dismissed it as protective, motherly instincts, but whispers inside the Bravo production team suggest something more sinister: that Joyce may have been encouraged to amplify her attacks to create better ratings. Because nothing sells like family feuds, and nothing hooks viewers like real tears on television. Was Joyce simply a worried mother, or a pawn in a television game designed to cash in on her daughter's heartbreak? That is the question people cannot stop asking. And then there is the music, the very arena where Kandi first made her mark with the group Escape. A group that looked united in public, but behind closed doors was fractured by accusations and jealousy. Tamika Scott once accused Kandi of sleeping her way to the top with Jermaine Dupri's father. An accusation Kandi vehemently denied, yet the stain of that rumor clung to her reputation for years, overshadowing her talent and feeding a narrative that she was not as clean as she appeared. Behind-the-scenes stories from anonymous sources at the label claimed there were missing contracts, unexplained checks, and backroom deals that left her bandmates furious. Whether true or not, The fallout destroyed the group's unity and cast suspicion on Kandi as someone who might have put ambition above loyalty. Add to that the growing controversies around her businesses. From health code violations at her old lady gang restaurants to lawsuits over alleged unpaid wages. And you begin to see a picture forming. A picture where triumph and trouble seem to walk hand in hand in her life. Every victory she claims is followed by another rumor, another lawsuit, another tragic headline. Almost as if something is determined to pull her back down whenever she tries to climb higher. That is the pattern. That is the drama. And that is why the name Burruss is never far from scandal. The deeper you go into the tangled world around Kandi Burruss, the more you realize that, what? Looks like a glamorous empire from the outside is stitched together with threads of tension. Controversy and secrets that simply refuse to stay hidden, no matter how hard she tries to project strength and positivity. After the accusations with Escape and the endless battles with her mother over Todd, it might have seemed like things would settle, but instead new whispers kept surfacing. And this time they came from unexpected corners of her business empire. Anonymous employees from her restaurant ventures claimed they were not being paid fairly. Court documents hinted at disputes over wages, and then came health inspectors, who found violations that made headlines and sent fans into shock. Imagine the irony of a restaurant chain built on family recipes and Southern hospitality being called out for unsafe practices. It was the kind of twist that tabloids love because it tarnishes not just a business, but the personal image attached to it. And as if that was not enough, financial experts who claimed to have inside information began speaking to blogs, suggesting that the Burruss-Tucker empire was not as rock solid as it appeared, whispering about loans, delayed payments, and desperate attempts to cover mounting costs. These so-called leaks were never proven, but they spread quickly because the internet loves a downfall narrative. And when you are a reality star, your private business becomes public property. Then there were the friends and former associates who suddenly had stories to tell, painting Kandi as someone who cut deals behind people's backs, someone who put money before loyalty, and someone who always knew how to manipulate the camera to her advantage. One anonymous source claimed that during her rise, she would deliberately leak information to blogs just to keep her name in the headlines. A risky strategy that worked brilliantly for visibility, but also created enemies everywhere she went. The more people dug into her past, the more contradictions they found. From friendships turned sour to contracts that disappeared without explanation. And every time Kandi tried to defend herself, another so-called insider came forward with a story that cast doubt on her version. Even her marriage to Todd has not been free from these attacks, as rumors of infidelity and secret financial troubles have circled them for years, with gossip pages insisting that the couple put on a united front for the cameras while behind closed doors. They fought bitterly about money and trust. Whether those stories are exaggerated or not does not matter, because in the court of public opinion, perception is reality, and the perception was turning darker. And when fans began weighing in, the reactions were split straight down the middle. Some passionately defending Kandi as a hardworking woman unfairly targeted by jealous peers and meddling producers, while others insisted she was finally being exposed for what she really was, a businesswoman willing to step on anyone to protect her brand. Comment sections lit up with debates, hashtags started trending, and suddenly the story was no longer about one rumor or one lawsuit. It was about the broader question of whether Kandi's empire was a house of cards waiting to collapse. Some viewers even compared her trajectory to other fallen stars, warning that the same cycle of too much ambition, too many enemies, and too many unresolved scandals could bring everything down. In that sense, the public itself became part of the spectacle, feeding on the drama while also shaping it, because every like, share, and retweet only poured gasoline on the fire. And through it all, Kandi kept smiling, kept posting, kept trying to show strength. Yet those who look closely claim they see the cracks, the weariness in her eyes, the toll of years of constantly fighting battles, both personal and professional. It is that tension between the image and the undercurrent, between the public success and the private chaos, That makes your story not just compelling, but haunting. Because you cannot help but wonder how long a person can keep carrying that much weight before something finally gives way. As the controversies around Kandi Burruss continued to unfold, it was only a matter of time before the whispers of betrayal and financial instability grew into something much bigger. And soon talk of legal trouble began to surface with frightening speed. Alleged insiders close to city officials hinted that investigations were quietly being launched into her business dealings. Not only about the restaurant violations, but also about reported discrepancies in tax filings and employee records. Details that, if proven true, could unravel years of careful empire building. Even though no charges have been officially confirmed, the fact that such rumors spread at all was enough to shake fans and critics alike. Because the pattern of scandal after scandal created a believable narrative that something serious was brewing behind the scenes. And as is always the case with celebrity culture, the moment one rumor sticks, a dozen more quickly follow, with bloggers suddenly claiming to have seen emails, leaked documents, and testimonies from anonymous staff members who painted a picture of a powerful brand being held together by quick fixes and public relations stunts rather than true stability. What made the situation even more explosive was the way other cast members and celebrities began to chime in, some in subtle ways and others with open shade, fueling the fire and suggesting that the world Kandi had built was on the verge of collapsing under its own weight. People started revisiting old feuds, rewatching clips of arguments from The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and claiming that the warning signs had been visible for years. That Kandi's calm demeanor was simply a mask hiding calculated moves and ruthless ambition. Even her closest allies were not immune to suspicion, with Todd once again dragged into the narrative as stories resurfaced that he had secretly been negotiating deals on the side and funneling resources into ventures without Kandi's full knowledge. An accusation that painted their marriage as not just rocky, but strategically fragile. The irony, of course, was that while the public was dissecting every rumor and conspiracy, the Burruss Tucker family tried harder than ever to appear united, attending events together, posting smiling family photos, projecting strength at every opportunity. Yet the louder they tried to silence the noise, the louder the whispers seemed to grow. Fans began questioning what the fallout could look like if the investigations proved real. Some speculating about potential closures of her businesses, others predicting lawsuits from disgruntled employees or even a forced exit from the show. If the network decided the drama had crossed from entertaining to damaging, reality television thrives on scandal, but only to a point. And once the line is crossed into genuine legal trouble, networks often step back to protect themselves, which raised the terrifying question of whether Kandi's career on Bravo could be at risk. Commentators and gossip bloggers did not hold back, some claiming this could be the downfall chapter of her story, while others suggested she was powerful enough to weather anything, pointing out that she had survived losses, betrayals, and vicious rumors before and had always come out on top. But this time felt different because the combination of financial controversy, family betrayal, and whispers of government involvement created a storm that could not be easily dismissed with a press release or a carefully crafted Instagram post. What makes it more compelling is the emotional toll it is visibly taking, with reports of Kandi breaking down in tears during private gatherings and confiding to friends that the pressure was overwhelming, that no matter how hard she fought to stay strong, the constant battles were wearing her down. For someone who has always built her image on resilience and independence, the idea of her reaching a breaking point only adds another layer of tragedy to the unfolding drama. It leaves fans asking difficult questions, not just about the truth of the allegations, but about the cost of fame itself, about whether the endless pursuit of success and visibility is worth the toll it takes on personal peace and family stability. And as the story continues to twist and evolve, the suspense only grows because everyone is waiting for the next shoe to drop, for the next headline that might confirm suspicions or shock people with an even darker revelation. It is this never-ending cycle of success, followed by scandal, triumph, shadowed by tragedy. That has turned Kandi's story into something bigger than celebrity gossip. It has become a modern cautionary tale about how even the most successful lives can unravel when secrets, betrayals, and controversies finally collide in the spotlight. So now that all the pieces are laid out in front of you, the question remains: how much of this is coincidence, and how much is the truth finally slipping through the cracks of a carefully crafted image? Are we witnessing the unraveling of a powerhouse brand, or just another cycle of exaggerated rumors designed to keep the internet buzzing? That is where you come in, because stories like this live and breathe on the voices of people like you who are watching, questioning, and debating. Do you believe Kandi is the victim of jealous enemies, opportunistic bloggers, and a reality TV machine that thrives on scandal? Or do you think the smoke is too heavy for there not to be some real fire burning underneath? Could this be the moment where her empire crumbles, or will she once again rise from the chaos and prove her critics wrong? I want to hear your take. Every theory, every suspicion, every piece of speculation, because the more we talk, the more the truth begins to take shape. So drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you want the unfiltered story to keep coming, and subscribe, because the next revelation is closer than you think.